Hello, everybody, and welcome to the kickoff show. Holiday season. It's a big game for the Eagles, a chance to lock up the NFC East as they continue to try to cinch the number one seed in the NFC. Bo Wulf, Jamie Lynch, Fran Duffy, and we are presented by Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Birds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. Jamie, how you feeling?
A lot better than I have all week.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's true.
Yeah.
The Lynch house went down hard. I feel better than I should about this game, I think. I have no doubt in my mind that the Eagles are going to go down to FedEx Field and kick their ass. And I shouldn't feel that way.
Well, and as you said before we started, Fran, really the only thing giving you pause is the line.
Yeah,
it is a Commander's
only
line.
-4 for the Eagles. Everything else, you're thinking this could be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in Week 11 looking at these two teams and saying, all right, there should be some angst from an Eagles fan standpoint going into this matchup. Jayden Daniels, the way this offense is performing, and they have still, especially these last couple of weeks, they have kind of bounced back a little bit because there was that rough patch right after the Eagles game where things started to fall off a little bit for them. But I think when you look at the way that these two teams match up, especially with how the Eagles have performed the last few weeks, it's shaping up that the Eagles should win this game going away.
Now we will hear from Zach Berman from FedEx Field in about 10 minutes or so. But if you just think about this game from, what are we interested in from an Eagles perspective, Fran? I think the most interesting thing is offensively, are they going to continue to do what they did last week and open up the passing game a little bit more, or is it going to be a little bit more like the offense that we saw, the past 2 months, where it's Saquon Barkley heavy, which is what it was when these two teams met about 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think that when you look at the way that the secondary has come together, Marshawn Lattimore reinserting into that starting lineup now for Washington. Sanders still the rookie second-round pick. He's going to be the starter opposite him. Another former first-round pick in Noah Igbenogany is going to be their starting nickel. So between those three guys, I think Washington feels okay. That pass rush is still kind of coming along, where you're seeing those guys come up and make some plays for them, getting after the opposing quarterback. This is not going to be smooth sailing for Jalen Hurts. We know that Dan Quinn can do some things to mix things up. From a coverage standpoint, I would expect to see, honestly, a lot of what Pittsburgh did last week coverage-wise, but probably disguised a little bit more. I think that's something where Dan Quinn does pretty well, is that he's able to disguise those coverages. He'll throw some funky looks at the quarterback. And so Jalen Hurts is going to have to be on his P's and Q's in this one for sure.
I heard you say Dan Quinn there, and I was thinking of Aneem Dankwa. What do you think about Aneem Dan Quinn?
It's not your best. It's not your worst. I wonder what Aneem Dankwa is up to these days.
If you want more forced bad puns like that, make sure that you subscribe to the PHLY channel. We are looking to get to 30,000 today. We're closing in on that.
Tell a friend, tell a family member, spread the word.
Yeah, and we've got the Fran and Cast coming up during the game. So make sure that if you are watching this game at home, you sync up that broadcast with us. Fran and I will be calling the game. Jamie popping in to let us know what else is going on as well. Jamie, there was a little bit of consternation about whether A.J. Brown was going to play in this game because he popped up on the injury report. He said on Friday he was going to be good to go. The inactives do confirm that he is good to go. It has been sort of a disappointing year of inactives are not that interesting this year. It feels very consistent.
I'm okay with that.
It's probably good.
Yeah.
Britton Covey is down. Eli Ricks is down. Nick Gates, Darren Kennard, Trevor Keegan all down on the offensive line, and Taron McKee is your number 3 quarterback. Nothing really
and no hit
for
drop
the Commanders
on the play.
Yeah, that was surprising, right?
A little surprising, yeah, especially since there was one in the game. Somebody else got a suspension or a fine for one.
And so this is one where with A.J. Brown, because it's a little bit up in the air, I know that we're going to do our best bets in a little bit. They didn't even have the lines on A.J. Brown because they were too unsure of what he was going to give in this game. What are you expecting from AJ?
Look, AJ Brown, I would imagine gets a lot of Lattimore today.
Yeah.
Lattimore didn't get tested at all last weekend. So, I want to see steal on steal. I want to see AJ Brown go up against Lattimore. I don't want to see you ignore Marshawn Lattimore. So I want to, I think it's a bigger day for DeVonta of the two. But I do want to see Lattimore tested, and I want to see AJ Brown go at him because that's a playoff quality matchup that you're probably going to need in a couple weeks.
Now, on the flip side, on the other side of the ball, obviously Jayden Daniels is somebody who you have to worry about from a scrambling and running perspective. Eagles did a very good job against him in this matchup a while ago. But last week, Jamie, without you, we forgot to give the full Quinyon Mitchell check-in.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, now he is favored to be DPO or Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Now? Wow.
Yeah, the best odds.
Should go away to the Bahamas more
And of
often.
course, we remember the game the last time. He totally shut down Terry McLaurin, of course.
Yeah, and I think since then, the Commanders have done a better job, Fran, you can speak to this, of moving him around the field, of getting him off of that one side. It was almost like one trip to Quinyon prison there, and they were like, all right, we got to use this guy differently. We can't allow – I think he has 5 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. I'm expecting Quinyon to put him in shambles again today.
What about from a game plan perspective? What do you expect from Vic Fangio in this game, Fran?
I honestly think it'll be very similar to what he did back in Week 11, where going up against Jayden Daniels, it wasn't a lot of funky coverages. They didn't really reinvent the wheel. They went in and they said, all right, we're going to do our coverage plan where it's going to be a heavy dose of zone coverage. You're going to get a lot of too high shell. It's going to be cover 4. It's going to be cover 6. Every once in a while, they'll mix in some man coverage, some cover 1. But I think when you look at the way that this defense wants to play, they're not going to change what they do from a coverage standpoint, from a pressure standpoint. I think that they're going to go back and force Jayden Daniels to kind of read things out, especially being down. Noah Brown is not playing in this game. He's out with injury. I think the Eagles are going to feel comfortable in the back end from a coverage standpoint.
And then up front, where is the weakness in this Commanders offensive line?
Yeah, I think honestly across the board, really, it's almost like what is the strength? Right guard Sam Cosmi is their best player.
And he did a good job mostly against Carter last time, right?
Yeah, most of Carter's wins last time came against the center.
Okay.
And so I think when you look at this matchup, you kind of feel good looking across the board. They have a rookie left tackle in Brandon Coleman who he's had his moments over these last several weeks, but he's a guy that certainly Josh Sweat can get some wins against. And then even just looking around the rest of that offensive line group, I think the Eagles kind of feel confident in terms of being able to get some of these wins, especially the way Nolan Smith has been playing.
He's been playing great.
Yeah, he's playing with his hair on fire. So I think when you look at this group, I think the Eagles defensive line probably feels pretty confident going into the matchup.
All right, we're going to hear from Zach Berman in just a minute, but before we do that, a word from our sponsor. If you got a leaky pipe, at Ace Hardware Home Services, they are around the block to fix everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. If you've got an air conditioning issue, they got a person for that. And if you've got a faucet that you said you would fix last fall and you keep putting it off and you keep getting nagged about it, well, just make that call to Ace Hardware Home Services and they will do it for you. They've got the person for everything because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project.
And what's the best gift you could give your children this holiday season? Well, it's the gift of financial literacy. And with our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you can do just that with the Greenlight app. I'm a grown man, and I just kind of figured out how to balance a checkbook recently. So why not start it with your children at an early age and teach them the knowledge of financial literacy and understanding. And with the Greenlight app, it's a game changer. You can help kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. You can set up saving goals, track their spending, even give them an allowance, and right there on their own debit card so they feel like an adult. And here's the best part. You can control it all right there from your app. You get peace of mind, and they get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's coaching your kids through their own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, it's free. And with the holidays here, it's the perfect time to introduce your kids to the Greenlight app. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information.
Now we have a super chat, and Santa bless Barrett Roth, who continues to try to come up with a good nickname for this Eagles defense. They're so good they deserve a nickname.
Yeah, someone in our Discord
let's
this week.
see. He has the Vic Wall.
That's probably the best submission so far from him, I
The
think.
squad is stacked with Vic's bricks. Pink Floyd over the PA playing at the link. Brick House for Howie.
The Vic Wall is
The
probably his
Vic
best
Wall.
submission this week, I would think.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Vic James. Biatch. I don't know. Vic it up.
Yeah. We'll workshop it. We'll keep workshopping it.
Okay. Do we have Zach?
Yeah.
He's at his favorite stadium in the NFL.
Yeah, no, this is we're going to get to that
reminiscing
because there has been a bit of a trains, planes, and automobiles travel situation for Zach. I believe he's like efforting to get there just in time.
Oh boy,
for this game.
I had
so
some car problems myself this week. Not
with
fun.
him on that front.
It was the opposite. It was train travels.
Oh yeah, I saw 30th Street closed.
Travel delays.
Yeah. Oof. What's his panic meter?
Oh, I would say very high.
Yeah.
I mean, no
borderline
doubt about that.
Cincinnati plane trip.
This has got to be the latest he's ever arrived at a game. I would imagine.
Oh wow.
So we will check in with him in a second. Why don't we do our best bets before we get to Zach then on that front? If you want, I can go first. You know, I have decided for this week I'm going to stay away from that Grand Calcaterra line, and so instead I'm going on Saquon here.
Smart.
One of my favorite bets all year long has been the Saquon longest rush over, which has been good to me, and the line for this one is 18.5 yards. So I like that one. And I'm also expecting that the Eagles are going to continue to ride Saquon Barkley. The over-under for his rush attempts is just 19.5. And so I'm taking the over there. That one's at -120. The other was at -110. So I'm expecting the Eagles to still be trying to run this offense through Saquon Barkley to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, even last week when it was so pass heavy, he had 19 carries.
Yep.
Yeah, I like both of those actually. And of course, these are brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Enter promo code PHLY365 at sign up. After a little perfect day, the account's got some cushion today, so I'm looking to make a couple of wagers myself. I mean, yesterday was just the easiest chalk day in the history of gambling. All right, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts over 25.5 passing attempts on the day. So I think he gets to 26, 27. Okay. And then I'm going to go with Jake Elliott over 7.5 points today. I think they got a renewed confidence back in Jake's leg. I see 2 field goals, extra point or 2. I think he can get to 8 or 9 points on the day fairly easily.
Okay.
So those are my 2.
Like that. So you like Washington's defense getting a couple stops in field goal range.
Yeah, I mean, it's a division game. It's going to be tough. I think Jake's going to put up some points today.
Okay. Do we have Zach? Still no Zach. Wow. Oh, man. He is absolutely sweating right now. He is going to be in just rare form. Poor guy.
And it's bitter cold out. He's rushing. And then you get like the sweat under the cold. It's the worst.
It's terrible. We have another super chat from Grace who says, Jamie, she has a smack-talking Commanders fan in her group chat. Do you have a good response? You're a Commanders fan. Like, what is this?
Even my Commanders buddies are like, they're inching back to life, but they're still not
honestly,
at a level of
truly the having combed through these myself, the best response is just a picture of Josh Harris.
That's actually great.
There's any picture you find is going to be a very...
Or Bo impersonating Josh Harris.
That's even better.
See if they can tell the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Who did it better?
Yeah. All right. Let's check in now with our man, Zach Berman, live at FedEx Field. Zach, how you doing?
Doing great. Thrilled to be here. Excited to see you guys.
All right. Well, you're already a little bit choppy on the Wi-Fi here, so let's hope that corrects itself. Tell us the story of your travels today. We imagine it has been perilous for you.
The bottom line is I'm here, right? But no, I was planning to take the train. And all the trains are delayed until afternoon because there's down wires between New York and Philadelphia. So no trains from New York are getting to Philadelphia. But they didn't tell you originally how long this delay was going to be. So it's like, all right, is this only going to be a half hour? Is this only going to be an hour? It just said service interruption. And then they finally said the noon part. And then it's all right, get in the car, get down 95, doing okay in that regard. And then here at Northwest Stadium, it's no longer FedEx Field. Northwest Stadium, they have very specific.
Really?
Yeah, they have very specific parking. And you can't access the parking unless you come in from a certain entrance. And that entrance is not as accessible coming from the it's not as accessible coming from the north as it is from the south.
It's so dumb.
And so I was making good time. I got to Landover at 11 a.m., which is decent when you consider, that my travels were pushed back. But then actually it took me an hour around the stadium area from the time I got off 95 to literally get to the parking
Brutal.
lot. But bottom line is I'm here. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm sorry I did not see pregame warmups, but from what I understand, a lot of the players did not come out for pregame warmups because it is pretty chilly here in Landover,
Interesting.
Maryland.
Is this the closest to kickoff that you've arrived at a game?
No, the closest to kickoff I ever arrived at a game was Eagles Houston Texans 2022. I went to Jalen Hurts' high school before the game for they had a pep rally, and it was said to be at that point 45 minutes from Jalen Hurts' high school in Baytown, Houston, to in Baytown, Texas, to Reliant Stadium. But when they say there's traffic sprawls in Houston, they mean it. That took me quite a bit, and I got there as the national anthem was singing. But I am thrilled to be here, excited for this game. Big game for both teams, big game for the NFC. And, just walking through the parking lot before the game, a lot of Eagles fans here. A lot of Eagles fans who did not take Amtrak, who took I-95 down. But you saw Kelly Green throughout the parking lot. And so I imagine this is going to seem like an Eagles home game to a varying degree.
That's a good thing for Grace to remind her friend of in the chat that even this home game is going to be very Eagles fan heavy. Zach, what are your expectations for the offensive game plan for the Eagles? Will this be trying to continue to come out and show that they can be a passing team, or do you think they will try to make this game go through Saquon?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be more of a ground game for the Eagles, or at least more so than last week. I think the matchup dictates that more. Now, Washington is vulnerable both on the ground and through the air, but now they have Lattimore back. They have Sanders still. There's good corners there. St. Juice. There's good corners there, and I think there are opportunities on the ground. You saw that when in the first meeting. Now I imagine Washington's going to have some different things presented. This is their second time seeing Saquon, but my guess is you're going to see a bigger Saquon day, and it's going to be, I don't want to say keep him on track for the record, but I'm expecting a 100-yard performance from Saquon Barkley.
Well, and you're certainly hoping for a big one from Swooper.
140, 140 plus.
Is that receiving and rushing?
No, I don't need 140.
Rushing.
I don't need 140 plus.
Well, you have two different things in there, Zach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I
You
meant
have
the Nick
140,
Singleton.
and then what is the bar for the Penn State running back? Must be low.
I think like 85, 90 yards, 85, 90 yards, thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you got
Although
a chance.
the
You got a
SMU
chance to
tight
pick up
end,
2 points.
Yeah, the SMU tight end is a tough one. He got like 38 yards last night.
Oh.
So Grant Calcaterra is going to need to make a play here.
Nick Singleton finished with 90. He was the leading rusher for PSU.
90 yards.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah, Fran is all over it. This is like for the first time entrant, Fran is all like watching the game with Swooper in mind.
Yeah.
Unlike you,
So it is. FedEx Field I should say Northwest Field. They've done some paint jobs here, but it's still the same place it's always been. So they're leaning more into the black.
Situation.
Yeah, they're leaning more into the black than the burgundy and gold. I'll give you that. It's kind of like the Pat Croce era Sixers, where the new ownership comes in and they try to introduce, like, they're not abandoning the burgundy and gold, but you see a lot more. All the walls down in the tunnel are painted black. That didn't used to be the case. You see much more black than burgundy and gold. So it's just a little insight there, and then you see some image displays to former Washington football team members. So they invested in the graphics here, but I will tell you, even with the new name, even with the new signage, it is the same stadium I've been coming to now for 15 years.
UGLY. All right, Zach, before we let you go, any final thoughts or predictions or anything you want to get on the record?
Yeah, I'm expecting the Eagles to win this game and win it, and I say win it handily. I think they cover. I do like the way Washington's played. I just see a talent disparity between the Eagles and Washington. The Eagles are relatively healthy going into this game, although listening on the car ride down to Lane Johnson on Chris Long's podcast and talking about all he said everyone has broken fingers. So look, everyone's dealing with something this time of year, but the reality is I just see a talent disparity. I see the score 27-17, and interestingly, there was a 27-17 score between Eagles and Washington down in Landover, Maryland back in 2017, that season opening game that year when Brandon Graham forced the fumble, Fletcher Cox picked it up, returned it for the touchdown. You remember Jason Peters carried Doug Peterson off. Kamuga Hill carried Doug Peterson off on his shoulders. That was a 27-17 score. So a little symmetry, a little callback to 2017 with the 27-17 score.
All right. Good stuff, Zach. Thank you very much. And make sure that you are spreading the word in the press box for everybody to subscribe to PHLY so that we can get this bad boy to 30,000.
Yeah, I can't wait till we're at 40 and 50 and then 100, right? But let's first things first. We need 130 or 155 more to get to 30,000.
Yeah, Fran promised by the closer we get.
Yeah, Zach, I think if we get to 50, then you can flash a nipple.
Yeah. In the name of journalism.
That will not happen. That will not happen. Not at all. Great to see you guys. Well, it will happen. We'll get to 50,000. It will not happen that there's flashing any type of body part in that regard. But looking forward to us getting to 30,000.
Yeah, not even an elbow.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Looking forward to the Francast. Looking forward to the post game show, and looking forward to the stories thereafter on allphly.com.
All right, Zach. We'll talk to you after the game. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Before we get going, Jamie, question on the chat. They want to know what you think of the Phillies trade.
Oh, I think it's a really good trade. Excited by it. Their rotation 1 through 5 is pretty nasty. So it looks like they're going with the run prevention idea instead of bringing in more mashers. So can't hate pitching.
Amen.
And prospects, 3 years away. It's a help you now move. So let's go.
Okay,
Sure.
Fran, give us your prediction.
31-17 Eagles. I feel the same way about this game that Zach does. I feel like, look, you look at Washington right now. They are one of a handful of teams that has yet to beat a team with a winning record.
Yep.
They are alongside the New Orleans Saints, Jacksonville Jaguars, New England Patriots, Carolina Panthers, and Cincinnati Bengals. Those are the only teams that have yet to beat anybody with a winning record. And so I think when you look at this team, the Eagles are just at a huge talent advantage here going into this matchup. I think the Eagles win.
I had something similar. I had like 30-20 in my mind. I think they win this. They cover this. I'm with Fran. They're a good team, but they're not a good team yet. Like, you got to beat somebody quality for me to respect you a little bit more. I'm sure Terry McLaurin is not looking forward to today that much. The Eagles did a really good job keeping Lamar Jackson, his mobility in check just a few weeks ago. Jayden Daniels doesn't worry me in that regard. I just think the Eagles are far superior, and they own FedEx Field or whatever the hell it is now. Josh Harris Dome.
Yeah, shots fired at Arthur Smith taking the FedEx off there.
Yeah, yeesh. But yeah, I think they handle this one easily.
All right, I'm gonna go 24-16. Eagles take this game. Giving a little extra respect to the Vic Fangio defense. I think they'll do a competent job as they have all season long. All right, we are gonna shut this bad boy down so we can flip it for the watch along. The Franning Cast, we're going to call this bad boy throughout the game. We will make sure that we can give you some cues to sync it up with the broadcast so you can watch alongside us. And then, of course, the post-game show following the game with the three of us and Super Bowl champion Vinny Curry as well. Enjoy the game, everybody. We will talk to you afterwards. And on behalf of all of us at Miller Lite, we thank you for watching. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.